All right. Okay, so guys, in this video, we'll talk about how to create an implicit intent. Of course, there can be several different types of implicit intents based on what you want to do. In this case, we are going to look at launching a browser page with the Shohan Games wiki link, basically. Okay. Um, to do that, let's add a button at the bottom of the Shohan game activity. And in fact, I'm going to cheat a little bit and simply add this button back, but name it something else. We'll call it game info. And when you do that, it tells you the string is not there. And then we can call it, we can give it some value. Okay, game info is good enough. All right. So now you have created a game info over here. Another thing we should do very carefully is create a show info or show game info method in the activity class. Okay. Again, another thing you should be really careful about is doing the same thing in the landscape layout. Otherwise, you'll have two different behaviors on two different orientations for this activity, which is not desirable at all. All right, so now we have the game info button here. What should that button do? So let's go here and wire it up. So what we want to achieve at this point is, get the URL for the wiki page and then create an intent which simply says, hey, I have a URL, URI, which is a web URL, and I want someone on this someone on this device to handle it. And that's what an implicit intent is. And then it lets um, the Android OS take care of who should actually handle it, right? So let's see. Let's first create a string that has the value of the URL. Okay. So just showing another way of doing it here, you can do Command N on Mac or something similar on the Windows device. I don't remember the exact value now. Yeah, but the name of it could be, let's say, Shohan URL, right? And the value is https://n.wikipedia.com/e/ oh, this is going to be tricky because we need that special character. So let me go and actually grab it from from here. That's better. And Android supports Unicode characters, so this O with an accent is fine. All right, so we have created the string as the first step. The next step is going to grab that resource over here. So how can you do that? How do you grab a string resource? Let's say URL equals get resources. Right? Remember, this method gets you a resources reference from which then you can extract strings, integers, colors, etc. So here we do a get string and r dot string dot what is it, Shohan URL, right? Okay, so we have got the string now. All right. Next, we want to convert this this string to a URI. URI, most of you would know already, it stands for Uniform Resource Identifier, which is a way of representing various type of data, including web pages in this case, or a telephone number, or a contact in your contacts database, and so on. And then based on um, based on the type of the data, the specific action will be determined by the OS, as we'll see. Okay. All right. So the next thing is to extract the URI out of it. There is a class called URI, U capital and other lowercase, as you see here, which has a library to parse a given string. Okay. So this will grab the URI out of it, or rather convert the string to a URI. Okay, this is good. And then we create intent. A new intent where the first argument is the action, action view, and the second argument is the URL. Okay. All right. So our implicit intent is ready to launch. Launch it to launch an activity with it. What we need to do is we'll simply call start activity. But it is possible in some rare occasions that the type of activity that should handle this particular URI does not exist on the device, and that may crash your app. So to guard against such situations, you should check whether an activity that can be resolved for this intent exists. So intent.resolve activity takes the package manager. You remember a package manager from one of our very first lectures. And you can easily invoke a package manager by doing a get package manager. So that's the parameter. Okay, and you check if the resolve activity is not null. Only when it is not null, you want to launch start activity with intent. Okay. Oops. We'll have an else clause where we log that this cannot launch web browser. Okay, just in case this ever happens. And here we can log launching web browser. Okay. All right, so that's it. Let's see how this behavior gets into the app. Okay, so at this point we launch the app. Wait for it to build and then install. Okay, there it is. Coming soon. All right, installed successful. We start from here. We don't really need to earn any coins. We just want to go to Shohan and see if there is this game info. Yes, you see that button. Clicking it, let's see what happens when you click it. When you click it, we are going to invoke that implicit intent, right? So now, since the URI type is a web address, system looks for all possible web browsers installed on the app on the device. In fact, it's looking for a specific type of action and a specific type of data, which is specified in the activities of certain apps, right? I mean, if you remember, the activity manager goes through the manifest files of all the apps installed on the device to find out what are the best candidates. So in this case, I have Chrome and Firefox. I only had Chrome by default, and then it would not show me this dialog box. It would simply launch Chrome. But since I have more than one, it gives me, the user, an option to choose from whichever I want. So let's say I check Firefox, then I have an option to do just once or always. We'll do just once for now. And okay, there is some lag, but yeah, and it launches that particular web page on Firefox as expected, right? So this is how you launch an implicit intent. To capture an implicit intent, you'll have to create an activity that will handle the specific action and specific data or category, or any other of those descriptions as we have seen earlier. All right. So then I can do anything over here, and let's now see the behavior of the back button. When I click the back button, what should happen? So we just talked about tasks in the previous video. It should pop off this activity, the Firefox's browser activity, from the top of the stack, and it should take us back to the previous top of the stack, that is the Shohan activity, right? Let's see. So I click the back button now, and that is exactly what happened, right? To prove that the Shohan window has gone from the browser, I'll go to my home screen and open Firefox. And here you see it's just its home page. You don't see that Shohan tab here. Okay, so this is sort of a proof of concept of what we have discussed. The top activity was popped off, and we went back to the previous activity in the task. All right. So this is all I intended to discuss about intents, including tasks and implicit intent, and the popping off of the most recent activity from the stack by clicking the back button. So next we'll talk about certain UI changes before going into other conceptual topics. Okay, thank you.